Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to my Swansea career on FIFA 14. August has come and gone, the transfer window has been opened and it's been closed. Players have moved to new clubs across the country. With the hope of challenging for the Premier League title and going toe to toe with some of Europe's elite, Swansea City signed a total of 6 players. In this episode guys, we take on the month of September as Season 3 finally gets underway. On transfer deadline day, news continues to sift through until all has been completed, papers have been signed. Eventually it was confirmed in the early hours of September the 1st that Patrick Amann will be playing for Swansea this season. He signed for 12.5 million from Borussia Mönchengladbach. The 24-year-old was set to complete his medical in the coming days. Will Amann manage to help Swansea to another successful season? You guys are just going to have to stay tuned to find out. Swansea City's first game of September saw them competing in the Capital One Cup yet again. Last season, Swansea City bailed out the Capital One Cup by Sam Allardyce's West Ham. Swansea City would get a second chance with a game against Newport County. Swansea City have only won the competition once, and that was in 2013 under the management of Michael Laundrop. Swansea City got off to a flyer in this one against Newport. A cross by Pablo Hernandez found the head of Wilfred Bonney, who beat the keeper, finding the bottom left-hand corner. Nice little dancing celebration as Swansea found themselves 1-0 up. Patrick Amann on his debut, proving to be a bit of a nuisance with a bit of skill here and there, finally winning a throw for Swansea. Newport, they had to be careful, they had to shut up shop and just defend for their lives, but Schalke wasn't even picked up. He found Tom Huddleston hanging around on the outside of that area and he just struck the ball with such venom, and Newport, they had a mountain to climb as they found themselves 2-0 down. They had a couple of good efforts on goal, testing new signing Oliver Baumann for Swansea in between the sticks, but it just wasn't good enough to get themselves back into the game against Swansea. Wilfred Bonney being closed down by 3, 4, 5 players, but he managed to fight them off, took the ball into the box, could see the goalkeeper off his line, could see the weakness in the top right hand corner of the goal, went for the cheeky chip, and thankfully for Bonney, it paid off. Did he mean it? He sure did. Swansea City 3-0 up, and Newport had an impossible task ahead of them if they wanted at least a chance of getting through to the next round of the Capital One Cup. Swansea City weren't done there yet. The game wasn't over. It was far from over, this game. 3-0 up in the second half with a great attacking movement. Schalke found Lacazette, who came on to replace Bonney in the second half, struck the ball way outside the box at 25-30 yards out. The ball clipped the inside of the post and found the back of the net. Swansea City 4, Newport County 0. 55 minutes in, and that would be all she wrote for Newport. They bail out of the competition. Swansea City go through to the next round. Patrick Amann also had a very successful debut and looking forward to the challenge ahead here at Swansea. Now Swansea's next fixture in September was in the Premier League, and it was to be played away at the Theatre of Dreams, Old Trafford, against Manchester United. Swansea certainly weren't considered the favourites in this one, going by their recent form at Old Trafford. Over the past 2 seasons, Swansea City have come to Old Trafford and they've lost on both occasions. They've also lost at home against Manchester United. So United obviously considered favourites, but could Swansea rise to the challenge with new signings? Danny Rose, one of the 6 new signings that started this game, as it was a very original Swansea side going out on that pitch at Old Trafford. Schalke looked to pick out talisman Bonney with a dangerous looking cross 20 minutes into the game, but David De Gea managed to come out and cleared the danger with a punch. But it was Chris Smalling for Manchester United that was on the receiving end of an injury, as all 3 players went down in the area after that dangerous looking cross by Schalke. Told you it was dangerous, but Manchester United kept piling on the pressure. A good tackle by Danny Rose, who seems to be settling in just nicely here at Swansea with just a couple of weeks gone and a couple of games under his belt in the Premier League. And it was captain Thiago Silva for Manchester United with a good header on target, but form just saving that with safe hands. Schalke on the counter-attack alongside Wilfried Bony, supplying him with the through ball over the top lob, and it was Bony with the finishing goods that made it 1-0 to Swansea. There's that dancing celebration. He just cannot stop at the moment. Manchester United will be disappointed in themselves for not recognising that counter-attack, which all started from that header by their captain Thiago Silva. Manchester United though, they always score. They will always try their best to get onto the score sheet, and it was Darren Fletcher right on the 45th minute with a shot deflected, went out for a corner, Valencia to take. He swung that in, trying to pick out Fellaini, the tallest guy in the area, and it was Wayne Rooney who was on the far post. He was just lingering, wasn't even picked up with the diving header, putting United back on level terms. Time was running out for both teams if they wanted to come away with all 3 points, and it was Ashley Richards that found new signing Patrick Aman down that right wing, and he was just released. He kept running and running, swung in the cross, finding Lacazette, who just headed that one past David De Gea with ease, putting Swansea into the lead for the second time in this game at Old Trafford. And for the first time over the past 2 seasons, Swansea have found it hard to get a result at Old Trafford. It was Patrick Aman again, proven to be a huge nuisance for the back four of the opposition. Phil Jones totally fooled by the step over here and there. Aman changing direction, taking the ball into the back of the net. Jones just couldn't keep up with him, and on the outside of his boot, Aman made it 3-1. Across the front of goal, De Gea fully stretched, couldn't stop that one, and couldn't keep it out of the back of the net. Manchester United will be disappointed with that result, but Swansea City will be jubilant and could even possibly have an open top bus going back to South Wales to celebrate. September was going to see Swansea City push to their limits. They got themselves into this last season after qualifying for the Champions League, and now they had to play their first group stage game against one of Europe's elite, Juventus. This was a first for any South Wales team to feature in the Champions League group stages. On one side, you had Wilfried Bony, you had Kanyas, you had Shelvey, Nathan Dyer. On the other, you had Tevez, you had Asamoah, Pogba, Vidal, the list goes on. With both teams fully fit and raring to go, it was going to prove a bit more of a challenge for Swansea City. Fans of Juventus would look at this on paper and think, that's a walk in the park. But it was Swansea City that found themselves 1-0 up against Juventus away from home, thanks to Shelvey holding on to the ball just a little bit longer, crossing it in, finding the head of Lacazette, who has experience in the Champions League. The ball just glanced off his head, beating world-class goalkeeper Buffon in between the sticks. Swansea 1-0 up against Juventus. Who would have thought? You can just imagine the scenes back in South Wales, but there was a lack of concentration as minutes later Juventus found themselves back on level terms. It was all the excitement from the fans in the stadium, from the players on the pitch, that cost them that goal. And with just minutes to go, 4 minutes to go for Swansea City, they were trying their utmost to see if they could get a winner against Juventus, and Shelvey came ever so close in getting it. The ball shaved the post, and the final whistle was finally blown at Juventus. The final score, 1-1, not a bad result for Swansea City's first ever game in the Champions League group stage. The next top game for Swansea in September found them playing in the Premier League once again against Everton, and it was Wilfried Bony that got that opening goal, and what a powerful finish it was, trying to make up for lost time after not being picked for that game midweek against Juventus with the half volley into the top right hand corner. With just 10 minutes to go of the game, Everton were rewarded with a penalty. Jelavic stood up to take it, and he struck it straight down the middle, making it 1-1. And in the dying embers of the game, Swansea have won a corner. One last chance, Townsend on the outside of the box struck the ball off the post. Shelvey was there. Thankfully his plan worked off. He struck the ball at the goalkeeper and it deflected off and rolled into the back of the net. If the goalkeeper hadn't have been there, it probably would have gone out for a throw. Anyway, Swansea's next and last game of September was to be played once again in the Champions League group stage. Last time out was against Juventus, and they came away with just a point from that game. Now, Swansea do have history against Schalke, if you guys can remember back a couple of seasons in the Europa League. Swansea City had to play Schalke in their group stage back then, and they still managed to come out on top, beating Schalke both home and away. If they could do it once again, they'd find themselves in the top 2 of the group stage here in the Champions League, getting off to a fantastic start and could even possibly be advancing through to the knockout stages. Schalke had a free kick. It was Farfan to take, very dangerous looking, curled the ball around the wall, hitting the crossbar, and on the rebound Schalke made it count with a header from Papadopoulos, taking advantage of Swansea City's keeper being off the line and just nutting that into the back of the net with ease. Schalke in the second half continued on with their attack, trying to get a second goal to be nice and comfortable and get those 3 points for the group stage. But it was Bonny, who didn't feature in that first game against Juventus, that got the equaliser for Swansea, almost bursting the net in the process. And there was still plenty of time remaining to maybe come away with a win if Swansea could just press high enough. But it was Slashley for Schalke, testing Swansea's goalkeeper once again. Matip using his height to his advantage, just getting a glancing header to it, knocking it out. And they eventually won a corner with another decent save by Vorm, just sticking his foot out and keeping Swansea in this game. Now 73 minutes into this, Bonny with a fantastic run from the right wing to the centre and to the back of the net. Bonny on for his hat-trick. Swansea 2-1 up and into the lead for the first time in this game. Could Swansea come away with the win? Could they get 4 points in their last 2 games in the Champions League group stage? And Shelvey finished the game. Signed, sealed and delivered. So far, so good for Swansea City in the Champions League group stage. It was Bonny with a lob over the top of the back 4, finding Shelvey, and Shelvey on the volley found the back of the net. 3-1 against Schalke. Surely there would be no way back for them now in this game with just minutes to go. Schalke, though, they were going to keep pushing Swansea to their limits. They were going to keep testing them, as they knew what it took after facing them numerous times in the past in the Europa League. Schalke did manage to get another goal, making the final result 3-2. But at the end of the day, Swansea City come away with all 3 points. Anyway, guys, that is the end of this episode. I do hope that you've all enjoyed, and I hope to see you all very soon for the next one. Thanks for watching.